hi, everybody. We're
Hi,
here
everybody.
back at the gallery. The Center for the Arts' new exhibition. In fact, it will be on from May 6th through June 13th. And it's with Judy Anderson, who is an acclaimed artist. Boy, you've done so many things, Judy.
I lived long enough.
Well, that also helps, too, yeah. But I notice it says sky, water, and earth, and you're kind of doing this exhibition with a lot of, not sunsets, but people, when they go on vacation, they like to take these big, beautiful pictures of what they see. But when they get the picture back, they look at it, and it doesn't have that same impetus that it had when they were there looking at a sunset or something.
It's very hard to capture that. I think in a picture, the beauty that you see in person.
True.
But
Well,
The
I
landscapes.
pictured it up here, and I will take photographs. But for the most part, I'm doing what you call plein air painting, which is painting on site. And this is some of the work that I've done. Well, it's all throughout the entire exhibit. Those are my early paintings when I was a student at the Art Institute. The first three take place in Massachusetts, and this one over here on this wall is in Michigan. I did a lot of my work up in Michigan. And these on these walls over here are paintings that I've done throughout my life, throughout the entire exhibit.
well, I notice you have a photograph in the corner of this picture, and it depicts an artist painting what he's looking at.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what you did, isn't
Yeah,
it?
that was my teacher, my mentor, my instructor, my friend Leroy Neiman, who is very famous as a sports
So he
illustrator.
inspired you to do
Oh,
this.
he did, and he taught me the business of art. He not only taught me how to draw and become an illustrator, but he taught me how to operate as an artist so that you can make a living at it, which is not something everyone can do.
What do you mean by an illustrator? What is an illustrator? Let's walk over this way.
An illustrator
Yeah.
is a painter who tells a story. I mean, there are story books, there are articles in newspapers, there are articles in magazines, and the painter who tells that story, is given a story, of course, and you go along and you do that. Now, these are paintings. These are not illustrations. I've had 2 retrospective shows of my illustrations, and I'm going to have a 3rd one this fall of my fashion illustrations. But these are paintings. This is something that I've done. This is my Nebraska series. And my husband and I, our parents grew up in eastern Nebraska. So we used to go back there quite a bit. That's his cousin's barn, who built that barn all by himself and was so proud of it. These are the grain elevators in Nebraska, in the town where my husband's father grew up. And that's typical there of what the countryside is like.
I know driving to out west, you get these huge expanses. And what's happened to me is I will see like an old barn or an old house, and I want to stop and take a picture of it. But, you're doing 80 miles an hour. You're not going to
it's
pull
that
over
easy
and
to
stop.
do.
And
Yes.
you don't do 80 miles an hour down 80. You do 100 miles an hour, and they
Because
run
it's so
you over.
open and there's
But there's so many
nothing there.
beautiful things to see that they're caught in a flash and they disappear. So something like that, would you actually stop and pull over and take a?
Yeah, I would either pull over and take a picture, or like some of them, like this barn, I did on site. It's done both ways. And
Do you ask for permission to take these pictures?
no, that was his barn. No, I don't ask for
Well, I'm looking at
permission.
that barn. You gave it such character.
He was a character.
But I could see that in the barn,
Yeah, the way he built it.
And the
I
way
mean,
the
he
light-
took me
he
up
picks
into
up
the
the light.
rafters, and it was just amazing. Now, the picture that I used for the centerpiece for this show, Sky, Water, Earth, it did not exist. It existed up here, and I painted it a long time ago. It's actually something that reminded me of Wisconsin or Minnesota or whatever. I used to go up to Wisconsin quite a bit, too.
Well, I
And,
could see that when you look at the sky. Sometimes
Yeah.
I just sit and stare at the sky and see the different colors that come out of the sky
This was after
during a storm. Yeah.
I had done that after a storm. Now, some of these over here, and those were done by photograph. I did not go out. They're done in Ireland, and my doctor wanted me to do an ancestral portrait of her home, or a portrait of her ancestral home, and she came back with these 3 photos, and I said, Joan, there's no house in this. I mean, there's an abbey back there. And she said, the house looked pretty shabby. I didn't want you to do it. So I did these 3 photos, or did those from photos. She's got the originals.
You consider yourself a re-emerging artist. What do you mean by that?
Well, there's a term out nowadays called emerging artists, and there it's all about the young people. I'm past 75. I'm 76 years old. So I've reemerged as a different sort of artist. I've become a painter now, as opposed to being an illustrator. But I still do illustrations.
Sounds like there's more emotion in painting as opposed to illustration, or is there?
Yeah. I mean, there are 2 different approaches. I mean, one is storytelling, and the other one is you're reacting to what you see out in the landscape, and it's a different sort of thing.
Well, I noticed some paintings over here. I think most of your work is.
My recent paintings. These were from trips I had taken. Actually, this is Monroe Harbor down at on the lakefront, and it's sunrise. And when we were students at the Art Institute, we used to go down there just to get a break from the oil paint and everything. And one day I went down there just recently, and the sunrise was so beautiful. I thought, oh, that's it. I'm going to paint that. This is I'm going on a painting trip this fall to the Hudson River, and that's what I'm going to be doing. That's up in Door County, and this one is Olympic National Park. My husband and I used to go painting together quite a bit, and we would take the children on trips, and he would take care of them down at the beach, or while they were napping, I would go down and paint, and it was just delightful to do this sort of thing.
Do you critique each other's work, or how does that
We
work?
worked together quite a bit. We were children's book illustrators, and yeah, we did critique each other's work, and there was never any jealousy about it. It was a perfect camaraderie. It was a perfect marriage, to tell you the truth.
It sounds perfect because you had the very same interest.
Goal,
So
yeah.
you appreciated what the other one did.
Was to put food on the table.
Yes.
which
Well,
we
that's-
did. You know.
That goes without saying, right?
Exactly. And so the best thing we did was to work together and inspire one another. And we worked on the very same pieces together, too, which was really unusual. And it was a great time. Well, now I'm doing it alone. I miss my partner. But I have lots of other critics, don't worry.
Well, just summing up over here, you went to a lot of little places, Kentucky, Omaha, I see, Highway 77, unusual things to paint.
Oh, yeah, they were unusual things to paint. And I would take these little postcard pieces of paper and my watercolors down to the beach. This is in South Haven. And, well, my husband took care of the kids. Or occasionally they came down, too. And I would paint these scenes. I put that together in a collage. But I still do that. I have my paints in the car, in the trunk of the car, and I live so close to harbor country. If it's a nice day, I'll just go out there and I'll photograph or do a painting right on site, which is more pleasurable. And people are afraid, as I said before, to come down and talk to me because they think we don't want to disturb her. But the kids come all the time. Lady, what are you doing? I wouldn't do it like that. How would you do it? And I hand them a paintbrush and say, go ahead, be my guest.
10-year-old critics, huh?
Oh, God, and they're more fun. They truly are. I mean,
It's their innocence. That,
exactly.
You know, that's what's so beautiful.
They just want to get involved, and it's wonderful.
Of course, you don't know if you're inspiring somebody. You know, with these children coming and watching you, and there could be somebody in there that said, boy, I'd like to do that, and they might
my
pursue
son
it.
was one that I inspired.
Oh,
You know, my
so
daughter turned out to be an author. He turned out to be a madman. You know, so
That's
fun.
nice. But that must be a good feeling that you could
Oh,
inspire
yeah.
somebody,
Yeah,
because
it
you know
was-
of the enjoyment you get from it, and you'd want
I
somebody
do
else to
get
enjoy
enjoyment
that.
from it
Yes.
because it was my life, and it still is, and there's still a lot of paintings up here that have to go down on paper yet.
Well, you turn into a mentor too for quite a while there. Well, you can see Judy Anderson's work, Sky, Water, and Earth, at the Center for the Arts here on Wednesday through Saturday from 1 to 4. And the artist reception is Saturday, May 9th from 2 to 4. So there's refreshments. Come on out and you can talk
And you
to
could meet Judy
Judy.
Anderson.
And you're welcome to get a Mother's Day present, too. I mean,
Oh.
Now,
these are
there's
all-
an idea.
Prints are for sale, and some of the originals are for sale.
Okay. Thank you, Judy.
That's a good
Enjoy.
thought.
And if you just come out to see them, that's fine. I'd love to meet you.
How do you feel about your commute these days? A little crabby? You can change that pretty easily. Just take Pace and feel happy as a clam. The savings will be a big change too. Travel in a more relaxing Pace.
A picture-perfect lawn may look harmless, but its effects can be a real horror show. Rain washes fertilizer, bug, and weed killers off your lawn, down ditches and drains, and into our rivers, where they can be toxic to wildlife and pollute our water. So cut back on lawn chemicals. Mow higher, leave the clippings, and enjoy a beautiful, healthy, safer lawn.
Hi, I'm John Kokoris, Community Services Coordinator over at Addison Public Library, and I wanted to share a couple huge programs we're planning for this summer with everyone tuning in from home. The first is summer reading. I know probably everyone in Addison has heard me talk about this 1,000 times over the last couple of years, but it's one of our most beloved and successful programs, and we're retooling it a little bit this summer to make it easier to participate than ever. Basically, any time from June 1st until August 15th, the whole summer, you can stop by the library and pick up a sign-up card, and you can read or create something using our library equipment, or even visit a museum or go to a library program and get points. And as soon as you get 25 points, you get a raffle ticket and a finishing prize. And the program is the same for children, teens, and adults this year, so parents can do it with their kids. People can do it separately. There's not like a complicated set of rules to remember. It's very streamlined, very fun and enjoyable, and you can read for time, you can read for amount of books. We're being as flexible as possible this year. And to incentivize it, we've ordered quite a few prizes for the summer. And everyone who participates will win something just for signing up. You can get a pen, which is always nice. But if you finish, you can win books, you can get these bags, and you can win our fabulous grand prizes, which include everything from gift cards to even like a ukulele. We have some sort of a program. If you're into computers, you can kind of get like a programming prize package. A lot of grand prizes donated from various businesses in the community, and we'll be thanking them, of course, in our next newsletter. But so tons of prizes, tons of ways to win, tons of flexibility. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're really excited about it. Another thing that we're especially excited about, which is new this year, is our summer lunch program. And beginning June 15th, that's the first Monday of the summer break for District 4 and District 88, kids and teens 18 and under can come to the library from 12 to 1 p.m. on any weekday and pick up a free lunch. and that's provided by the Northern Illinois Food Bank. They have this program all across the area for kids that may have a parent at work who can't prepare lunch for them, or may not be able to afford lunch, or just for kids that are in the library in the summer, just to encourage them to come. You might have a fully stocked fridge at home, but why not drop by every once in a while this summer and pick up a sandwich. So that's from 12 to 1 this summer, starting June 15th and continuing to August 21st, I believe. And there's no sign up needed. The first couple of days might be a little bumpy, as we don't know exactly how many people to expect, but stick with us. Also, every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday after the lunch program, we're going to have free events for kids here in the library, so you can make a day of it. So that's something we're really, really excited about. Never done it before. We really hope we get a good turnout to this, and I think we will. The last thing we're doing, also new this summer, is our summer camps. And throughout the summer, we'll have these week-long programs where you sign up for 4 classes throughout the week, and you kind of they're focused on learning a specific thing, really going in depth, a little deeper than our regular one-time programs go. So we've got a Diary of a Wimpy Kid camp, we've got a music camp where you can learn to play an instrument, and plenty of other camps, playing an art camp, things like that. And these are for kids. So those also start in June. So we're really excited about that. We've got all of our regular programming. We're doubling the amount of yoga classes we're doing. We've got tons of Zumba classes for adults, and just all the same fun stuff you've come to expect from the library these days. That's all available online and in the newsletter that's getting mailed out this week. So thanks for your time. Please give me a call if you've got questions. Our number is 630-543-3617, and we can be reached online at addisonlibrary.org. Have a great summer.
Dear Mom, I don't know how to start saying something like this. I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have gone to the party. I've entered a world I don't want to be a part of. I'm in hell, Mom. A nightmare, and I need you to help me. I'm so afraid it's too late. Everything spiraled out of control. I want to be your little girl again. I love you, Mom, and I don't know where to turn.
Dear baby girl, I wish I could have helped you. You would have never done anything, ever, for me to hate you. I just wish I could hold you in my arms and tell you it's all going to be okay, that we can just go back to the way it was. I love you, and I'd do anything to hold you in my arms one more time. Love, your Mom.
Hi, I'm John Langton, the Superintendent of Schools for Addison School District 4. Our school district serves close to 4,400 elementary and middle school age children in Addison, preschool through 8th grades. Our Board of Education employees strive for excellence for all to ensure that all of our students are academically and socially successful. Our students are provided a strong foundation for their learning so that they can find success in high school, college, and/or their careers. Joining me today on Addison Cable Television is our school district's Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction, Donna Haney, the new Ardmore Elementary School Principal, Kim Losey, and our school district's Facility Engineer, Abe Singh. We are excited about some exciting changes that will be occurring over the next few months that will impact all of our children in the Addison community. Our Board of Education recognized through a community-based strategic planning process back in 2011 the importance of enhancing our early learning programs. This resulted in reinstating the at-risk preschool program and making a commitment to consider full-day kindergarten. We initiated a pilot for full-day kindergarten which lasted 2 years at Army Trail School. The full-day kindergarten pilot revealed a significant difference in the performance of these students compared to their half-day kindergarten peers during their subsequent years in first and second grades. The Board of Education then made the decision to review the possibility of expanding the full-day kindergarten programs to more of our elementary schools. Unfortunately, not every elementary school in our community had the available space to double the number of kindergarten classrooms necessary for full-day kindergarten. In fact, Lake Park and Fullerton schools did not even have their own kindergarten students. These children have attended Ardmore School for kindergarten because of a lack of space in their own home schools. There were many options that our Board of Education considered for addressing the lack of available classroom space to accommodate full-day kindergarten. The most cost-effective solution was to construct an early learning center for our 3 to 5-year-old children whose needs have been served at the current Ardmore School. By moving these children into the new early learning center, we could then reopen Ardmore Elementary School to serve kindergarten through 5th grade children from that local neighborhood. As exciting as opening a new elementary school attendance center is, in order to open up space in the existing elementary schools to accommodate full-day kindergarten, we needed to shift the existing elementary attendance boundaries. These changes opened up space in all 7 schools to provide full-day kindergarten for all of our students. We recognize that changing elementary school attendance boundaries will disrupt many of our students and their families for next school year because these children will move to a new elementary school. Mrs. Haney, could you explain in greater detail how the benefits of full-day kindergarten will offset this inconvenience?
Absolutely. We know that our full-day kindergarten will definitely, across all schools, will definitely benefit our students. But first I'd like to talk a little bit about the importance of our early childhood education in Addison School District 4. There are many positives, and we're very excited about moving into a new location that we'll talk about later. But we do know that the early childhood education program here in Addison is definitely an important investment for our community because it will reach students that are at risk, and we will be able to access, they will be able to access formal education prior to kindergarten. So we're very excited about that. Our EC programs will also promote positive developmental growth in all areas, such as gross and fine motor, cognitive skills, as well as social emotional skills. And through our early childhood education program, we can begin to address school readiness and close that achievement gap by supporting our students' development early on and build those foundational skills that are necessary for later years, which also then brings us into the full-day kindergarten. So that's a great continuum for our students that really need that support. We know that research has shown that full-day kindergarten students that have that opportunity have higher reading scores and higher achievement later in their school career. It also allows for more instructional time, and this additional time allows us to provide interventions that are based on individual needs of students, as well as supports for students who may need more assistance. It also allows teachers more time to cover topics much deeper than before, and also more possibilities for learning through play. We know play is very important, and students at an early age learn much through play. Also, the additional time allows increased opportunities to teach positive social behaviors. We've had a lot of work done in the background, so in order to prepare for all of these exciting changes in our community, our district has formed an early learning task force, which is led by Mrs. Kim Losey. So I'm asking Kim, can you share with us what the work of the early learning task force has been?
Thank you, Mrs. Haney. I would also like to thank Mrs. Haney, Mrs. Cartman, our special education, Assistant Superintendent of Special Education, and Aaron Alexander, the principal of the current Ardmore School, for their assistance in leading the early learning task force. We knew that moving forward into next school year that we would be expanding the amount of time that our kindergartners had available for learning, and moving into the new facility for early child, that we wanted to ensure that they were getting the best education possible. So the early learning task force actually spent the summer studying best practices in early childhood education as it pertains to our preschool, early child special education, and kindergarten programs. We looked in the areas areas of curriculum and instruction, technology, social emotional learning, play, as well as assessment, and also expanding our school community family partnerships, and developed an action plan that we had multiple steps, and it's actually a multi-year plan. This year we really focused on the actual learning components specific in kindergarten to literacy. We realized that through our reflections that we were not consistently teaching early literacy skills across all classrooms in kindergarten. And so what we have done is developed a teaching guide for word study for all of our kindergarten teachers to follow, and ensure that they all have the same materials available to them as well, so that all of our students are getting the same type of instruction for foundational reading skills. We've also looked at concepts of print. In order for children to be able to learn how to read, they have to understand what words are and how print looks and works in text, books, magazines. And so we've developed an assessment to determine if they are ready to learn how to read, and our kindergarten teachers will be utilizing that early in the fall as well, and being able to use that data to help form instruction for either individual small groups or for the whole class, depending on the results. We've also talked about the amount of time that we spend writing in kindergarten, and at this time we feel that we aren't incorporating enough writing, and there is a very strong relationship between reading and writing skills. And so we are currently working with our kindergarten teachers and developing some professional development on how to provide developmentally appropriate writing practices for them, understanding how writing impacts reading, and also how to incorporate more writing into their current instruction without necessarily having to add time to a literacy block, looking more at how that balances the rest of their literacy instruction. At the Early Learning Center, we're very excited because we've actually created some consistency with what the students will be learning. We'll be utilizing creative curriculum across the preschool and early childhood classrooms. This program actually focuses on developing language skills, speaking and listening skills, early literacy, early numeracy, social emotional learning through play, and has an assessment component for all of the teachers to utilize as well. The assessment component is actually online. The teachers can not only mark where students are on the developmental continuum, but will also be able to upload artifacts and pictures into the system, which provides a computer-based portfolio for that child, and can print reports for parents about individual children, as well as look at whole class reports and whole school reports to determine, where we may need to increase instruction or enhance some of our current materials. This is new for the Early Learning Center. Currently, early childhood and preschool use different materials, and so the chance to utilize similar materials in all of the classrooms will allow for more cohesive collaboration amongst the staff at the new Early Learning Center as well, and allow kids who are in special education possibly to also enter into the preschool classrooms more frequently for some mainstreaming opportunities, since the teaching will be fairly consistent across all boards. Around the social emotional piece, currently at the Early Childhood Center, the students had a very inconsistent, the teachers had very inconsistent practices for teaching kids how to access the environment and interact with one another. So their PBIS team has actually looked at developing some common social skills lessons to be utilized in all of the classrooms. And what those lessons will focus on is not only teaching kids how to play or how to interact with one another, but also how to access the educational environment, which is a very important school readiness skill. Through those lessons, kids will learn everything from how to sit during class or during group time, to how to carry on a conversation with a teacher or another student, appropriate ways of working with each other, dealing with conflicts, and also how to access the materials within the environment and play either independently or with other students. And so the teachers have begun to develop some scripts for doing that so that the teaching is consistent in all of the rooms for all of the students as well. And that's very exciting for our early childhood students. These types of skills are what we would consider life skills and are very important for school readiness and as they move into the elementary school as well. And so I believe it will benefit our students who attend those programs greatly and really prepare them for kindergarten and beyond. As we are looking forward to next year, we've started to study play. With the expanded time in kindergarten, we're very excited to be able to bring play back in to the kindergarten classrooms. We know that children learn a lot from play. There are a lot of benefits associated with play, and we often think of play as that role playing or pretend play. Through our research, we have been talking about lots of different types of play, including gross motor play. That's that very active play that often takes place in playgrounds or in the gym. Fine motor play, there is the dramatic play, but there's also constructive play, which has a lot of benefits for early numeracy, science, and social studies skills. When students are able to build or participate in visual arts and creating things, they begin to develop spatial skills. They learn about how their body fits into the world. They also learn a lot about making concrete representations, which will help them in geometry and through measurement and through science later on. So those are areas that we're actually working with our teachers on right now. We feel it's an area that we have overlooked in the past several years, particularly in kindergarten. I think early childhood has provided opportunities for that, but what we want to do is make sure that our teachers have not only the materials for the students to use, but also have the ability to lead all those types of play within their classrooms. And so we're in the process of developing a vision for our student roles and our teacher roles in play, and also developing some workshops for our teachers to attend so that they know how to implement that type of play in the classroom. And that will provide our students many more opportunities for developing those informal and early school readiness skills necessary for entering the elementary school. As we look ahead to next year, we'll be talking about early numeracy and math in both our early childhood programs, preschool programs, and our kindergarten programs. What research is showing now is that early numeracy skills are actually a better predictor of reading and math achievement, even more so than early literacy skills are. So we know that we have a lot of work to do to ensure that our students are coming into kindergarten and first grade with those necessary skills. Math has been an area often overlooked in early childhood. There's been some misconceptions that kids in preschool aren't able to learn math. They're not developmentally ready to learn math, and what we're finding is that's not actually true, and that we can actually go much deeper into our math instruction. And so we want to provide our students with the best foundation possible in that area. And so we'll be working on our order of instruction and our math practices next year. We're also, as I had alluded to earlier, looking at how to incorporate those consistent opportunities for play within our classrooms. What's very exciting for us is as we move into the Early Learning Center, we actually have some really special spaces dedicated to that active play, including the new playground area and the indoor gross motor room. And so what I'd like to do is introduce Mr. Abe Singh, our facilities engineer, who will talk about the construction process and the new building that will be part of Addison District 4.
Thank you, Kim. I'm happy to report that construction of the ELC is going very well. As it relates to schedule, we broke ground just before Thanksgiving last year, if you recall. So we had a very strict timeline to complete the project, but I'm happy to report that we're currently tracking on schedule. As it relates to budgets, we're paying for the construction using fund balances, and to date, we've really minimized change orders. And I think much of that had to do with the efforts we put in on the front end as it relates to design and thinking through all of the elements of the ELC. so that we can minimize change orders and changes in the construction area. As we all know, it's much more expensive once you're in construction to make changes than having thought about it on the front end. And really, thank you all for your efforts in collaboration with the board. We really made great strides on the design end to really expedite the construction end. The design itself, it's located west of Ardmore Elementary. It's going to be an addition. And it's a very quiet place, very peaceful, very natural, with you know, grown trees, mature trees. So it's going to blend in very nicely with that particular area. It's 17,000 square feet overall, so it's a very good large-sized facility. And in the design of the facility, we took cues off of the existing building. Perhaps you can zoom in to that image for our viewers. And the intent was to take cues off the existing facility where it's going to be a new building, but it also blends in with the existing architecture. And we've done that by incorporating elements of the I-beam, the brick, and then introducing a new element, which is the stone veneer. The next image I'd like to share is the outdoor playground. And we spent quite a bit of time in the design of this playground just to make sure that it's considering whom we're serving, which is preschool-aged kids. The substrate will be a poured rubber, which makes it wheelchair accessible. And it's very conducive, again, to our preschool and the kids we had in mind for this facility. The next image, directly behind the outdoor playground, is the indoor facility. It's not quite. It's a room for large motor skills. It's about 1,700 square feet. And it really allows for an expansive space. Here's an indoor image of the room itself. And again, it's a large open space so that the kids can exercise, they can move. We've also included an element of dimension as it relates to the ceiling. It's not your typical drop ceiling. It's an exposed ceiling element that creates a new dimension overall. The other element I'd like to refer to is the fact that we've included a lot of natural light to make it a warm space, a very natural space. Speaking of warm, there is radiant heat. Again, we're talking about preschool-aged children, and we want to make sure that they're comfortable as well. The original intent was for 12 classrooms. Due to budget, we've been able to build 9. Each classroom is about 900 square feet. Again, it's a very large space with exposed ceilings. And the wonderful thing is that we were able to include dedicated restrooms to each of these classrooms. We all know that's a component that's always a challenge with preschool-aged kids, so that's going to be a great asset to have. In addition to the restrooms, we've included integrated therapies opportunities. There's a space dedicated for each classroom for that purpose. Our biggest phase still remains, which is basically over the summer, trying to get ready for August 1st. There's much to do on the inside, mechanically, electrically, as well as plumbing, but I'm very confident that we will be successful.
Sounds very exciting. Yeah.
So thank you, Mr. Singh, and also thank you, Mrs. Haney and Mrs. Losey, for your contributions to providing our audience with an overview of what work we're currently engaged in. You know, certainly it's easy to get excited and generate a lot of interest in bricks and mortar. And as Mr. Singh alluded to, this facility, which is purpose-built for 3 to 5-year-old children and will be ready for the opening of school at the end of August, is going to certainly meet their needs. But the most important component that our Board of Education has spoken about is the need to make sure that the programs that we have, whether it's for our 3 to 5-year-old children, our kindergarten children, first grade children, all the way through 8th grade, appropriately meet their academic and social emotional needs. So the work that our teams have been engaged in over the last couple of years in researching and analyzing best practices, looking at how we're currently providing services to children, and then recommending changes to those programs starting next school year is going to have the most profound impact on our kids. Often High School District 88, which is where all of our students feed into, they talk about building successful futures for kids, which is what their goal is. Our goal folds right into that, but it has to start with a strong foundation. So through the efforts of our Early Learning Task Force, our all-day kindergarten team, and then certainly our school board and our Buildings and Grounds Committee, which has contributed to the construction of this beautiful new facility, we're going to enhance the programs that we have for all of our children so that they have strong foundations. And when we build strong foundations, we will certainly spend less money later on in their educational careers with interventions and support programs for children who are at risk. And I encourage anyone in our community who has questions about either the Early Learning Center construction or our educational programs to contact my office or email me at jlangton@asd4.org. Thank you.
It's my intergalactic destiny. I'm ready, as we all must be, to take on this crazy meteoric conflict. Yikes!
Watch a movie on the way to work. Can't do this driving, but you can on Pace. Pace turns any commute into moments of relaxation. Travel in a more relaxing pace.
Since 1991, Addison has come together in the spirit of generosity to raise money for those in need. This year we celebrate the 25th year of the Mayor's Community Charity Ball, and Addison Community Television introduces you to those who make up this unique event. We'll take a look at the foundations, service organizations, and philanthropic groups that illustrate who we are. I'm Dory Croggy. Join me as we take a look at Addison, a community of giving. For at least 15 years, the Knights of Columbus have been a large group at the Mayor's Community Charity Ball. I'm here with Mike Bruntz, a Grand Knight with Knights of Columbus, here to tell us a little bit about the organization. And Knights of Columbus extends far beyond Addison, but let's focus on your council, Mike. Tell me a little bit about the history. How long has it been in Addison?
We've actually been in Addison since 1961. Before that, there was each Knights of Columbus Council has a particular name. Our name is Damon Hildebrand. There was two councils in the city of Chicago. One was named Damon, one was named Hildebrand. And then when they moved out here to Addison, it became Damon Hildebrand Council 650. That was started. They came here to Addison. Originally was part of St. Joseph. Kind of went over to was the St. Philip's St. Joseph Council, and now it's actually just the St. Philip's Council, which now St. Joseph has their own council now over there.
So they work with the church, but they're not actually part of the church?
They work with the church. One of the core values of the Knights of Columbus, their first, is to support the priest and the parish.
Okay.
That's their first, foremost of what they do.
What other mission does the Knights have?
One of the big things that two of the biggest things that they actually do is they help mentally challenged. That's Special Olympics. Matter of fact, I just received in the mail that the Knights of Columbus at the state level has supported a a lottery. It's the instant lottery that you can actually go into any store and buy the Special Olympics instant lottery ticket. And 100% of that money will actually go toward Special Olympics here in Illinois. And that's actually supported by the Knights. So that's actually one of the biggest things that the Knights do is support Special Olympics. The other thing is too is that at a state level and at a local level, when they had the tornadoes downstate last month, the Knights were the first people there, giving out gift cards. And then at a local level, like here, like last Christmas, we were able to buy, I don't remember the name or the amount, but there was a certain amount of coats. I think it was about 96 or so coats that we were able to give away to, as a local community, event.
And locally especially, we see the Knights involved in so much. I know that you work very closely with Americans of Italian descent, but even on your own, there are so many programs and events that the Knights do. Tell me a little bit about some of those. I know that you do pancake breakfasts and all kinds of things.
All right, actually, and then this year what we're going to do is we are going to do the pancake breakfast again this year for the village, just like how we did last year. And it's,
but even on your own, you do things like that.
Yes, we actually do. We do spaghetti dinners. We actually do, different kind of fundraisers. Whether it's, just a raffle or a wine tasting. Any way that we can actually think of to raise money. Because one of the things I actually put in a letter that I've actually sent out to all my brother Knights was, we have to have fundraisers in order to give the money away. Because without the money we can't give those to the needs.
Right.
And it's always different from year to year. There's not always the same. Our core things of, we always do a spaghetti dinner, we always do a pancake breakfast. That's actually one of the core things that we do every year because they have been very successful. But like this year, like maybe one thing that we have in the work, we want to do a steak dinner. We're trying to work all that out and see if maybe that's more beneficial, and it's just, but so it's just, like I said, it's different things every year, and it's just more way we can, the more money we raise is the more money we can give away.
And then how do you determine who you're giving the money to? Who decides that?
A lot of times it depends on who comes to us. One of the last people that actually came to us is actually right here in Addison. It's Healthy Minds, Healthy Bodies. Alan Force, I'm almost positive that's the name of it. And they've actually come to us and help us, if we would help them, support them.
Now that's a program that helps veterans who've returned.
Right. So sometimes it's, it's a mental issue, or some, it's a physical issue, and they help them transition back into regular everyday life. And of course it's a nonprofit organization, and that's the biggest thing that, like the Knights want to help. We're not here to support the local McDonald's. We're here to support, people that are trying to help other people. And that's actually another one of the core values of the Knights.
How big is your membership, and how do you get members?
The members are actually, well, as far as the group that we have in our group here in Addison, for our council in St. Philip's, we have 211 people.
Wow.
So it's, and half of them are actually pretty active. So, the other half are, they're older. They were, they kind of, they did their time back in the, 70s and 80s, but, they're, and some of them are still actually pretty active. We actually have one guy that's actually 85. We got two guys that they're 85, and they're still pretty active.
Wow.
Actually, one of them is actually an officer still on, within our Knights.
Now, as I mentioned, you've been part of the Mayor's Ball for at least 15 years, at least as far back as my records go. Why do the Knights think feel that it's an important part of their fundraising? Because of the many groups that come, I think on any given year, the Knights have more people there than most of the other charities. Well,
you know what this is? It's actually, it's one of those things. It's actually it's very beneficial to us. It actually, there's a couple of reasons. It's very beneficial for us. It's one of our bigger fundraisers that we have for the year. And again, it's money that we can end up giving away to whomever. But also on the other on the other point of this, and actually it was something that was actually introduced to, especially with me, with Mayor Biestra, is that it actually puts us out there. It actually shows us out, in a positive light, that, here we are, this is what we're trying to do, and because a lot of people can, see us as the guys that are out in the corner selling Tootsie Rolls, and that's fine. We have no problem with that. But there's the nights are a lot more than just that.
Exactly.
So doing the Mayor's Ball, it's really good for us. It gives us exposure, and it gives us good exposure. It helps the village at the same time, and then, like I said, it's a big fundraiser for us. And so the more money that we can raise is the more money that we can give away.
The money that you raise in the Mayor's Ball each year, is that earmarked for anything in particular, or does that go into your general fund that you just determine what you're giving away?
There's a very small amount. It's less than, it's depending on how things go. It's a very, very small amount. It's less than 10%. So whatever dollar amount we make, from the 10%, we have to keep, because we have to have an operating budget.
Sure.
Because you have to be able to spend the money to be able to, to do some of these things. One of the things I'm actually trying to do maybe this year is the money from the Mayor's Ball. I want to be able to do, there's another program that I don't remember if it's the village or the police department actually came up with. It's the Shop with a Hero.
Yes, that's the police and fire, yes.
So I think it was originally started with the police department and then extended to the fire department. So we want to be able to extend that money from that onto that.
That's great.
So the more money we could raise there, and then also from maybe another thing this year, I'm trying to earmark that money for that. And what's nice about that is that it all goes right back to the community as well.
Exactly. Now, if somebody wanted to learn more about your council, get more involved, how would they go about doing that?
Well, they can actually go right to, we actually have a website. It's kfc650.org. Everything, all the information's on there. There's different links up on the top. If you go there, if you scroll over to the left or up on the top of the page, you scroll over to the right actually. There's links on there, and there's the state website, there's a Supreme website also that's actually in Connecticut too. We also, because we answer to a state and Supreme also. And then, there's just all different information on there, and how to join if you want to join, and what's the criteria of, being able to be a knight, and so on and so forth. And even if you want to support us.
That's true. Yeah, they could make a donation.
They can make a donation. Yeah, they can make a donation through us.
All right, great.
And everybody that's an officer, all of our contact information is on there as well.
All right. Well, thanks for being with us, Mike. We've been talking with Mike Bruntz from the Knights of Columbus here in Addison. You can learn more about them at kfc650.org, and they are a proud member of the Mayor's Community Charity Ball.
Several of the communities have attempted to do something similar. They've met with relatively little success, and it seems to me that we have a very unique thing going on in Addison, the intergovernmental cooperation that's uniquely Addison, the different service organizations that work together through the Addison Advantage Task Force. They all work together, and that's something unique to Addison, where in other communities they don't have that mutual support, and events similar to this is very, very difficult to pull together.
Learn more about the Mayor's Community Charity Ball and other events by visiting ithappensinAddison.com.